Good morning, and God bless America. It is the 4th of July. Aren't y'all happy? I am. A big celebration will take place in Meridian tonight at Bonita Lakes. I'm sure that there's others. I want to say that up at Pearl River Resort, they'll have a show at 9 o'clock tonight. Most of these will be taking place as dark falls. The greatest nation on this earth at this point in time is having a birthday today. I'm glad to be a part of it, aren't you? It's going to be a great year. We've got a lot of things going for us. We'll be talking about all of those. Whew, it is good to live in the U.S. of A. That's why so many other people want to be here, isn't it? All right, 6:30 on a Friday. We're so glad to have you to let us be a part of what you do. We were out and about last night. We'll tell you a difference coming up at 7 o'clock that the Meridian Police Department is making. It's very noticeable out of the gate. We've got a little bit of fog as we pull up radar this morning. Let's show this. If you're traveling 20 out to our west, you're going to get into a lot of fog as you get near Vicksburg. About the time that you cross through Jackson and get near Edwards and those places, it'll start getting thick. From Tallulah to Delhi, even over to Monroe, you're going to get into some. Up through Bastrop and northward into Arkansas, Greenville, those areas there. Pine Bluff will have some. We'll even have a little bit there in the Cleveland area, Greenville, and up around Tunica. Corinth, look at that. It even has a little bit crossing into Tennessee. Now, what we're seeing here is the remnants here of this tropical storm. Well, it isn't quite a tropical storm that's been trying to develop. It's a 60% that it may develop. And then you look at these squiggly lines, it is most likely for that rain to go into the Charleston area. That's what we're watching there. Nothing in the Gulf of America. That's in the Atlantic here on that eastern coastline. So all looks good there. We do have some rain showers just off the coast of Houma, Louisiana there. Could affect Slidell later, and maybe a sprinkle or two in coming through Biloxi at some point. The Meridian area, East Mississippi, looks good today. We'll have all the details on the weather forecast up and coming in a few moments. So good to see y'all. Rick, Steve, see you, Becky. Let's go to Collinsville now. Get a good word of the day, and welcome to BMOX.
You know, our bodies remind us daily that we live in a fallen world. We grow tired, we age, we ache, we get sick, we carry scars, some seen, but some hidden. Paul calls us in body, he calls it, a body subject to weakness, decay, death. But for the believer, this isn't the final chapter. Philippians 3:21 gives us one of the most hope-filled promises in all of Scripture. You see, when Jesus returns, He'll transform our lowly bodies to be like His glorious body, it says. So right now we live in this fragile, aging, broken bodies marked by weakness and sickness and temptation and pain. But these humble vessels aren't the end of the story. No, Jesus, by His resurrection power, will one day take what is weak and make it strong, what's mortal, and clothe it with immortality. The same power that subjected all things to Himself will raise us up and make us like Him, glorious and whole and perfect in every way. And look, this truth fuels our hope and shapes how we live now. We don't just live for this fading world and for the flesh that wastes away. We live in light of eternity. So press on, because this body isn't perfect, but our Savior is, and we're promised a future. So beloved, don't despair over what's passing away. Your body may be lowly now, but glory's coming. Christ will finish His work on you, and one day you'll stand before Him fully transformed, radiant in His resurrection. Keep looking up. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Welcome back. As we said, it is the 4th. What a great time to be in America. Makes you feel all patriotic. We'll have a bunch of celebrations again as throughout our area. I'm unsure, but I do think that there is still some travel chaos on I-20. This would happen about an hour ago. A wreck happened at mile marker 154. I'm unsure if they've got this cleaned up. Right in front of about where U-Haul is along there, the westbound lane. It was an 18-wheeler involved with another vehicle, and they were having trouble getting that. It was blocked for a little bit of while. I think traffic did start to flow some. A lot of people were exiting off, taking that frontage roadway. So keep that in mind. They could be cleaned up, but we hadn't officially gotten word on that. Let's see, as we begin today, we start looking around at things that have happened. As we all know, late yesterday it passed. We're expecting this to be signed today, what they are calling the Big Beautiful Bill. We'll get into a few things. But one thing we know that it is going to do, it's going to shut the borders. It's going to take people that are on Medicaid that shouldn't be off of that. And that's a big deal there. As I read the headlines, it was 39%, get this now, 39% of all illegal aliens that were head of households collected Medicaid in the U.S. of A. That's more than the illegal immigrants and American citizens. That's tough there. And you wonder why we were going bankrupt. Well, they weren't adding anything to it, but were receiving. That's how things typically work. You give, you receive. But America has gotten really bad about that over the last 8-9 years. Of course, with this bill, it will make ICE and border agents some priority to where they can actually do some things. But you are paying for a lot of things for others who have never paid a penny in. Like it or not, that's the simple truth on that. Here is something, and I know it's true, but it's not getting a lot of traction nationwide. Do y'all remember seeing the video of Nancy Pelosi in the back of the Suburban, and one of her people talked to her, and she made a comment about what they refer to it as the J6. There is a class action lawsuit that has been filed against Nancy Pelosi, claiming that she orchestrated the entire J6 event to frame Donald J. Trump. It has been approved by a federal judge to move forward. As what would Scooby say? Ruh-roh, Shaggy. I didn't say it as good as Odie could, but that's the facts. And again, this is not getting a lot of national press. It's kind of in the back burner. They don't want to report this. Could the whole thing have been? Y'all think back on this, whether you like the event or not. I saw, without a shadow of a doubt, police holding the door open for people to walk in there. Now, if that was, why would they have been holding the door? And then this turned into something else quickly.
And she denied National Guard to come and help.
Yes, she did deny National Guard. So this could turn out with a federal judge allowing the lawsuit to move forward. I think it's like $350 million lawsuit or something like that. If they win, it could, financially destroy her. We'll see if that happens. I don't know whether the government will be tied into this with her having a government role at the time, or if it would be a personal thing that she would have to carry. So we'll see there, but it's for real. It is happening there. This stuff just irks my soul, and especially when you pick on the elderly. When you go to the YMCA, and I've never been to one, but I know that it does help young people. It helps old people. It's in communities. It was an 82-year-old woman. I want to say this was in Oregon is where this took place. This, Port, I know is Washington. Port, what town is this? I don't go there very often. Port Townsend, Washington. She went down to the local YMCA. She went into the ladies' locker room. There was a male there. She objected it, and they threw her out of the YMCA. She filed a lawsuit. She's won.
Heck yeah.
Man, ain't supposed to be in there. But that was during a time when our nation was very confused about who was who and what was what. Those are getting clarified pretty clearly out of Washington, D.C. these days. But 82-year-old woman, no man should be in a ladies' locker room. Y'all know that as well as I do. They should not be allowed to take showers and pretend that they're a woman because they felt that way that day. My, oh, my, oh, my. Uh-oh, somebody couldn't get in. They banged on the door, they beat on the door, and they said, nope, you ain't coming in. A whole bunch of Democrats went down to the Alligator Alcatraz, demanded to get in. They were not allowed there. We've seen that a lot lately. You remember when they pushed one of the ICE agents? Didn't turn out so well for them either. Chicago, horror overnight as we see that 4 killed, 14 were hurt in Chicago as a mass shooting happened. They're calling it absolute chaos in the streets there. Hopefully they can get this kind of worked out there. Wouldn't it be great when there was one law across America and everybody abided by it? I can't promise that. This is, and I bring up this story because of what today is. We held nothing against anybody having a good time. Go out tonight, enjoy yourself, whatever you want to do to celebrate the 4th, but don't drive if you've had a little too much to drink. Let someone else do that. Why? Because there's others on the highways. We see a Colorado man will be spending the rest of his life in prison. A DUI is what he got. He killed an Air Force veteran behind the wheel. And again, he'll spend the rest of his natural-born days behind jail over that. Wasn't worth it, was it? Again, no one has anything against anyone having partaking in alcohol. Just don't drive. Injured is the key word here. Skydiving plane went down. 14 on board. They all live. But boy, they're all shook up and banged up. We hope everything's going to be okay with that. And again, I've said it before, we're starting to hear more about the aviation world where it was kind of kept quiet over the last 8 to 10 years. Nissan is recalling a few cars. So if you've got a Nissan, you might want to pay attention to this. 480,000 vehicles in the U.S. are being recalled due to a risk of an engine fire. It covers Nissan Rogues between 21 and 24, 19 and 20 Altimas, and also between 19 and 22 Infinities. So contact your local Nissan dealer if you've got one of those to find out when you can drop it off. And if you're confused by it, just simply call a Nissan dealership. They'll be glad to tell you if you've got a recall, if you've got anything to worry about. But it was an engine compartment fire that they were worried about, and they're going to be recalling those, nearly 500,000 of them. That's a lot of cars there. Oscar Mayer recalling some turkey bacon recall nationwide over the risk of listeria. Ooh, that gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Turkey shouldn't be bacon anyway.
But you know, the thing about food like that, whether it's chips, the average American, as soon as it's bought, it's usually a ham sandwich made out of it pretty doggone quick. A few people will buy extra and freeze, don't get me wrong, but there's usually a ham sandwich or two made pretty much immediately, whether it's dips, chip, or whatever it is. They said it couldn't happen, that June would just be horrible, but that's not the case, as we see that roughly 150,000 jobs, I think it was 147 jobs, were added to the U.S. market. They said it couldn't happen in June. It did. Things are looking up. I like that, don't y'all? Let's see here. Now, I don't quite understand everything about this before I say it, but from today forward, they're going to start celebrating the 250th anniversary of America. We're at 249 now. Next year will mark that 250 signing. So it will be celebrations all through this leading up to it. Up on the White House lawn, here it comes, y'all. A UFC fight. And of course, as you know, the guy that's the owner of that was a big supporter. Dana White, that's his name. Supporter of Trump. Guy barely took a vacation. He endorsed Trump when others wouldn't. He's going to get to have a fight on the lawn at the White House. Kind of like a Rocky type theme, I would think. Yeah. But that'll be good. We should celebrate. Our nation is one of the best there is, if not the best. Okay, I'm a little prideful. It is the best. That was that same picture that I looked at a moment ago. Let's see here. Texas, I would have thought this would have been a lot more states involved with this, but Texas has just become the first U.S. state to officially ban Islamic Sharia law. I didn't know that. I thought that was more common there. Mississippi, wake up. Where y'all at? Get that taken out of here. This is even better news as we saw that some jobs were added. How about this? Interest rates are falling now, little by little. 6.67% is the lowest level since April that we've had on interest rates. The lower the money, the more people are willing to borrow and spend and invest in America. It's one of the things that needs to happen there. It really makes all this grow. That's good news there. What else we got this morning? Let's see here. This kind of hits home. We had one of these happen not long ago at Delwood, drownings. July, nationwide, now I'm not saying here, but nationwide is one of the highest drowning months there are because everybody's on vacation and they go to the beach, they go to lakes and things like that and go swimming. Y'all be careful, pay attention. If you see somebody in trouble, say something. And always be careful in those boats. People can fall out of a boat easily in a boating accident. As we go into the 4th, When was it? A couple of years ago, we had two boats collide, and it was several people that were killed. You got to be careful on the waters this weekend. We don't want to lose anybody due to all this. A lot of boat safety, and I would assume that we'll have Mississippi Game and Fish out as well, like we do law enforcement. Boy, they're expanding it down on the border. They're moving it on up, enforcement zone, to 1/3 of the southern border. It's going to be a lot of agents down there. We got lowest numbers of people trying to get in than we've had in years. They're going to be expanding this. That's good news. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, in Rome, I've seen it in movies, but a gas station exploded. 9 first responders were injured as they tried to near to put it out. Another secondary boom went off. No deaths, but they were injured pretty rough there. Firefighters, about 100 of them, are battling a fire over in California right now. Those wildfires are booger bears. We've had a lot of rain here lately, so it's not as crispy. Still use safety as we celebrate the 4th as we get out. Now, I didn't know this guy. Did you ever watch the movie Kill Bill?
I never did see it.
Wasn't that one of those where it was actually a lot of killing in it or something?
Yeah.
It didn't entice me in to watch it. But one of the main characters of that, Michael Madison, he also played in some movie called Reservoir Dogs, has passed away at the age of 67. I did not know him. I didn't see the movie, but apparently he's been around for quite some time. If you were a fan of his, he has passed away at the age of 67. Let's see here. They're kind of nervous out in California as we bring up the 4th of July. They've canceled about several events. I think it's about 4, if I read deeper into that this morning. 4 events are going to be canceled. They're worried about clashes, so they've canceled them. That's bad when you have to cancel a 4th of July event. Bothers me.
California.
Supreme Court, rump row, Shaggy, as I said a while ago, they have paved the way for Trump to send migrants to South Sudan, or Sudan, however you want to say that, Sudan. There are those that are against that, while the rest of us say get rid of people that are here illegally that are hurting Americans. As we go to, well, this is a tough one here. As we get into a little bit of sports news this morning, former NBA guard Ben McLemore has been found guilty of rape in Oregon. They've put the cuffs on him already. Guilty is what they say. ICE agents were busy also. I guess you get visas to come do this eventually, or to begin with. Boxer Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. has been arrested. Well, he was here illegally, and he also had affiliations with a cartel. He won't be boxing here anytime soon, so if you had tickets, you might ask for a refund pretty quick like. He's headed back home. Let's see what else happened here. Cleveland Guardians pitcher, they're not telling why, but he's been removed from the game for an unspecified time. His name is Luis Ortiz. It's an ongoing probe is all they're telling anyone. I'm sure some local folks may know more than we do about the rumors, but they're not telling anything nationally. Who's going to be the next coach of the Knicks? Looks to be Mike Brown. Good luck to him. Maybe they'll hire him and he'll do well for them. We'll see there. Technology constantly impresses me of what happens. A young lady went missing some 42 years ago. Years later, they did find a skull, but they couldn't come up with anything. DNA. After 42 years, a man has been indicted. It was his girlfriend. They both walked into the woods. She didn't come out. They never found anything until recently when a skull was found. He's been charged with her murder. You want to know why? He was jealous. He thought she was dating someone else. Now, again, he won't get to spend his whole life where he should have been, but we'll take what we get out of that. Careful on vacation. I don't understand this. I don't see Odie while on vacation at 4 a.m. getting out of bed and going, well, I think I need a pack of smokes, and jumps into a cab and drives off in a foreign country. That's what's happened in the Turks. A New York man done just that. His wife was asleep. He goes and gets into a car and drives off. He hasn't been seen since. While on vacation, take wife along. Not to say that she must have been a nag. And she could have been. They'd only been married roughly less than a year. Maybe she snored. I don't know.
Yes.
But he had to go.
He had to go. I'll take my chances over.
Do y'all know the guy that drives, and I always refer to him as the wiry-haired guy that drives the Camaro. I've never actually seen him in the Camaro, but a 69, 67. That guy, how do you pronounce his name? Fieri. Okay. He reminds me of that car, the Fiero. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
The guy with the wild blonde hair. He done a contest of his show, had a winner. The winner is a little upset with him. They filed a lawsuit alleging breach of contract against him. Front row. Uh-oh. We'll see what becomes of that also. Up next, we're going to do your weather forecast as we get ready for the 4th of July show. It's going to be a big one. Hope you'll join around. And we hate to say it, that girl is a no-show today. Another vacation. She packed up and left town in a flurry yesterday. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Nick at Doc's Toyota, and we are excited to put you in a new Toyota today. We have no dealer markup, no hidden fees, no hassle, and our inventory is always priced to move. Our top-notch sales department and first-class service after the sale guarantees you a fast and comfortable buying experience like you've never had. So come see why month after month, more and more customers have chose to buy from Doc's Toyota. So come see us here at Doc's Toyota in Philadelphia, at docstoyota.com or on Facebook, and remember, there's no deal like a Doc's deal.
For over 40 years, you've been able to count on Watt Equipment in DeKalb, Mississippi. They've got your Massey Ferguson's brand new 23 up to 135 horse cab and air tractors. They've got all your hay equipment needs, all your bush hogs. If your tractor needs it, they got it. Also remember, they service all makes and models, whether it's green, orange, blue, red, or yellow. They can get your parts in, they can do your service on your equipment. Don't forget Watt Equipment, DeKalb, Mississippi.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA.
As we check our record highs and lows, it was 1977, 102 today. If I ain't mistaken, that was that same year as we got into the winter months that we had that big ice storm. Whew, it was hot and cold that year. As we look at our lowest on record, 1924 was 58 today. Kind of chilly then. As we look ahead here, we don't have a forecast from Jackson yet. As we see that Bama calling for 95 in Montgomery, we'll see 92 down in Troy and 94 around Birmingham. Warm day. Let's see here. This is what we got. Heat and stress. Starting tomorrow, look at this. All the way back to Jackson, Hattiesburg is going to be that 105 plus. The Meridian area hasn't been added, but don't hold your breath. That could happen to East Mississippi as well, as this sweltering heat makes its way towards us. As we see here, we're above average here. Hotter on the Mississippi Gulf Coast than it is in the Meridian area. It's a little bit cooler as you go northward. As we glance here, our 7-day forecast, it will fall between 94 and 95 today, depending upon where you're standing. But the key factor here, 0% chance of rain today. Isn't that great? Now, we're going to have a great time for the 4th as we roll into tomorrow. Slight chance of rain Saturday and Sunday, about 20% chance. Almost an identical forecast for both days. Rain chances increase on Monday, and by Wednesday, we're up to a 60% chance of showers, 70% by next Thursday there. Highs will, be in the mid-90s as we look at that. Let's go another week into July and see what it has to offer there. 89 on the 11th, and all the way through the 18th, we're still at 92, so we're hovering in between 90 to those mid-90s. Nothing outrageous just yet, all the way through July 18th. Mind you, we got August coming. As we go out to Clarkdale Superette today, let's find out what's happening with that fishing forecast. Perfect time to fish this morning from 7 until 9 a.m. It's going to be good. And then right at dark 30, beginning around 7 until about 9 is your peak times to fish. There's a slight chance, about an hour's worth there from 2:30 to 3:30. Sunrise happened at 5:52 a.m. this morning. Sunset will wait till about 8:05. Perfect, isn't it? Now, we are monitoring this, a 60% chance of these showers here off on that eastern coastline there in the Gulf, in the Atlantic, forming into something. That's the National Hurricane Center. Let's go back and look at radar one quick time there as we look at these storms as they're out here. This is what we're paying attention to right here. Let's go to Doc's Toyota radar. That could develop into something. That's the spaghetti models where it would go, and it would be up through Charleston. A lot of rain involved with that as it cut across Florida and Gainesville and those areas earlier this morning. Well, that's a look at your forecast. We'll be back in about 3 minutes to go live with the morning show. Join us, won't you? We'll all learn something. We got a lot to talk about. It is Friday, July 4th. Welcome to the Scotty Ray Report.